skipper's done it.
Beautiful chapter it is for the Bombers.
Yeah, I'm highly embarrassed about that now. I had no idea it was him. I just thought it was another couple of Collingwood nuffies.
Hello Bomber fans, welcome to the Friday Footy panel. Hope you've recovered from what was a miserable day all round at the MCG last week. It was cold, it was wet, and a loss to Carlton is never much fun. But the focus now, certainly Saturday night, Adelaide Oval against the top of the table Crows. Scotty Lucas, welcome. What sort of response are you expecting from the Bombers this week?
Oh, look, a strong response. I thought you couldn't question last week the effort of the players. They played pretty solid football, but just fell down in a couple of technical areas because of the conditions. I felt didn't assess the conditions and then play accordingly. Thought they overused the handball in and around the contest too much. Carlton's pressure was really good, so they were able to turn the ball over there, and it became a battle for field position, and Carlton controlled it with a lot more inside 50s. But still, the effort was there, just the execution not so much. So I think conditions should be good, which will certainly help them against a fast-flowing Adelaide team who like to play attacking football. So similar type of teams in terms of the way they want to play coming up against one another. Certainly be a tough game to go over to Adelaide and play.
I must admit, before the season, I thought Adelaide, they only had one A-grade midfielder in Rory Sloane, and I thought that's where they'd struggle. But the first three rounds, their midfield has been white hot. Where's the improvement come from there? Is it certain individuals, or, I mean, Rory's been playing really well as well.
Rory's been super. I think the collective, they've worked well as a group. They've rotated a few more players through there. I think what you find, though, you've got Laird down back who wins a lot of the footy. You've also got Lynch pushing up as a high half forward into the midfield. So they're actually running more numbers than you think through their half-backs coming up around the football. So they're just playing really good football. Got a dominant ruckman in Jacobs, giving him first use of the ball. I thought whilst Ryder had a lot of hit-outs last week and controlled the hit-outs to advantage were very good from Jacobs, and he was able to control Paddy after quarter time, and then we saw the benefits. Crouch has been underrated with his work this year, and Douglas has gone into the midfield. Played a lot as a half-forward last year, I think, with the way that the midfield lines had come into that team and played very well. Now he's at Gold Coast.
Yeah, Hampton's sort of taken his spot, hasn't
That's right, and Hampton has come in. So they've been able to get some guys back that were injured, just readjust their forward line, tweak that, push Douglas up, and therefore they're getting a good overall result. Very dominant team up forward, and you've got Talia down back. So they've got some really good bookends, and their mids are working well together.
How much time needs to be put into Smith and Laird? They give them great drive, and the first round, Laird ran around and did what he wanted against the Giants. And also, how do the Bombers tackle Rory Sloane?
Sloane's an interesting one. I would like to see, and we don't debate, we comment on the debate the coaches have around the ability to tag. If you're not going to tag Sloane, I'd certainly like to see him sat on at stoppages. Really not allow him to go to the positions he wants and be an easy target for Jacobs to hit. Man him up and make it a real contest in tight. Laird and Smith off halfback, they get so much of their drive. Adelaide off their half-back line, generate a lot of scores from there on rebound. What you need to do, it really comes down to the forward pressure applied by the Essendon half-forwards. The small forwards need to be very diligent in the way that they don't let the ball out too easily. And also it's the way that your midfield defend the corridor. If you don't give Laird and Sloane easy options or corridors to run through, then you can curb their influence.
Eddie Betts. Andrew McGrath was outstanding last week, one of the Bombers' better players. He looks physically and with speed the right matchup. I know Bagley's there as well. Could it be Andrew McGrath this week playing on Eddie Betts?
It certainly could. I think they'll start Bagley on him, but McGrath physically is the best matchup without doubt. The simple fact is it's his fourth game, and do you want to do that over in Adelaide? Try and get him through his first few games. But certainly there could be stages where he has to play on him. If Bagley comes off for a rest, well, then you would think he's the next most logical choice.
All three games so far, the Bombers have lost the inside 50 count. Why is it happening, do you think? Is it lack of pressure from the forwards? Is it the midfield not defending? Is it beating at stoppages? Why is that happening, and is it a concern?
Well, it's certainly a concern. I tend to think not so much lack of forward pressure. That's more a contributor to scoring chains, and if your opponents are scoring out of back half rebounds, then you would point the finger at them. but the ball just hasn't got down there enough. I certainly think against Carlton, it was the way that they overused handball. And I thought they went long down the line too much in difficult conditions. They've got to switch the play more. That will help them get their entries up. But also, if you look the week before, really, it was the centre clearances in that third quarter that cost them a lot of entries. So generally, it has been, whilst different, the midfield. The midfield really controls field position. Every time there's a stoppage, you get an opportunity to win it and take it inside your forward 50, and they haven't been good enough or a cohesive enough unit as yet to get that, but I'm sure it will come.
Now, Scotty playing the Crows always brings back great memories of the 1993 prelim, 42 points down, and a man that played a big role in that match is our very special guest today.
Hard sailing over the boundary line.
Well, it's Bewick. Pretty good kick for goal. Oh, he's got it! He's kicked far.
Was that one where you spun around Grant Tanner, the best goal you kicked?
Oh, look, I'm not sure how long the show goes for. But,
It'd be hard to single out any one goal, wouldn't it?
21 others to go through. So many. I mean, you love the modern game, wouldn't you? Small forwards are dominating footy these days.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
Except for defensive pressure.
It's the pot calling the kettle black here, isn't it?